Hello and welcome to this month's Thoughts on Leadership. It's February and I've been traveling around as I always do and starting to notice a few things that I wanted to share with you in this month's Thoughts. It all started with reading a recent report that's come out. And the report came out in the United Kingdom. It says that underperforming middle managers are cutting productivity of British businesses to the tune of £220 billion a year. This is a report that's come out of Hays Consulting. And it's a good report. It shows that 38% of UK directors believe that their organization is paralyzed by ineffective middle management and that they are the single biggest barrier to the company achieving some of its objectives. And I would just wanted to dissect this a little bit. I obviously didn't do the research and the survey on this particular one, but knowing my own work with organizations, I would divide organizations into two camps. There's the one camp of organization which is very aware of what's going on in the world, realizing that the way globalization is coming at us, the issues that are happening in the world, and the need to be agile, the need to be fit, the need to be responsive, the need to be planning, the need to strategically thinking ahead, and all the things that I talk about when I'm speaking and so forth. So you have a group of senior managers, business owners, directors who have grasped that and are doing that. Then you have those that still haven't got their head in the sand, see the issues as purely local, not really getting their head around things. I think what I'm discovering is that the business owners, let's stay with the business owners that are strategic thinking, if you like, they are so focused on trying to plan ahead, trying to think ahead, that they have somewhat lost the ability to explain that big picture to some of their, particularly their middle managers, but I would say to all their people. And so you create a situation where the people in the middle managers and the staff are saying, well, senior management don't know what's going on down here. Now, I hear you saying immediately to response to that, but hasn't that always been the cry from people at middle and particularly at lower levels in an organization? Yes, it has, but for different reasons than it is today. There's no question about it. There's that group of organizations that has existed in the past, and probably that second group I was talking about of ones who are not forward-looking. There are some managers in there who have lost contact with the business further down. Maybe they came in at a higher level and so never really understood what was going on lower down. Or maybe they did understand, but maybe just power's gone to their head, or maybe they've just allowed themselves to be disconnected. Now, although that has been in the past most definitely an issue, there are some around still of that nature today. Largely, that has got significantly better. A lot of back to the floor type thinking went on in terms of getting senior managers back onto the floor, getting them back at the coalface, getting back in front of the customer, and making them have more in touch, if you like. What I'm seeing is different now. Is these senior managers are perceived as being out of touch because they are looking strategically, because they're looking at trends, because they're looking at the way the future is going, and trying to make sense of it, trying to work out what they need to do next, and coming back wanting to change things, try things, do things. And this is making people inside feel that they're detached. So they're detached for a different reason, if you like, than it was 20 years ago, for example. And that, I think, is an issue. I think it is really a big issue for some of the directors I'm speaking to. I know a lot of people, when I'm speaking at conferences about the way management has changed and management leadership will need to change in the future, are coming up to me and saying, thank you very much for that. That was a real eye-opener. That suddenly put a lot of things into perspective for me. So I'm aware that people are not always thinking and not putting the world into perspective. So if you're sat there as a middle manager in an organization, it would be very easy for you to jump to the conclusion, hey, the boss has lost it. The boss is off trying to do something crackers and crazy, when in reality, it's not. We're here trying to make things conform and make things work, and it seems as though they're walking in the door every 5 minutes with something different and new, where we haven't got the last lot put right. So I think the real issue here is a mixture of training, but it's a lot of it's to do with communication. I noticed the same report said when it came out that middle managers, if given better training, their teams could enhance productivity by 29%. I think those predictions are a little bit hard to quantify, but I don't disbelieve what they're saying. Because if you've got a middle manager in the organization who is, let's just say, that the older generation, the baby boomer generation, where they are in their 40s or 50s or 60s, shall we say, it's still got a manager's head on. And bear in mind, one of the differences I think about the dichotomy, should I say, about management and leadership, is management is about conforming and keeping your systems and adhering, whereas leadership is about challenging and looking forward. So if you've got that middle manager in that age group and in that mindset, and is a manager and is focusing on leading and on managing the business, then they are disconnected from where the leadership may be or the senior management may be, which is looking ahead, saying where we're trying to go and what we're trying to do. And the result can be that they start, when staff start complaining and saying, oh, why are we changing this? What's going on about this? Their reaction is, oh, because management tell us to. And then they do undermine the organization. And I think that's the point this report's getting to, is they're now starting to undermine the organization. And if they didn't do that, yes, then productivity would have to improve as a result of it. So I think there is an element of training. Training in terms of being able to be agile, being able to think outside the box, being able to understand and challenge things and communicate it in a way that keeps people motivated. But I think an even more important thing from senior management is being able to have that communication with your people, particularly your managers, your middle managers, making them aware that this is the trends I'm seeing. When I'm coming in with some of the stuff I'm saying to you, I'm not saying this because I'm trying to add to your burdens to your life or make life difficult. I'm trying to make this a place where we can have a business in 10 years from now. Because a lot of people are under serious threat in business now. They had really good businesses. I met a man the other day who has a really good business, a very profitable business, and he just picked up a confirmation that he was going to get a seriously good order that would really be good for him in the coming year. And then he went to a trade show, finding that the customer that was going to give him that order, a customer he dealt with for years, was talking directly to the manufacturer, and he lost the order. So times are changing, things are moving on. We're having to reanalyze our business. If middle managers don't realize that, particularly if they're of the mindset and possibly the generation which is trying to keep things in place, then you have that disparity that this report seems to be suggesting. So, what's your questions for this month? Well, I've broken it down into two lots of questions now. I'm asking questions of middle managers, and then I'm asking questions of senior managers, business owners, or directors level. And those two levels, I'm asking different questions. So let's start with those business owners, the senior level person, the director of the business. Are you communicating with your middle managers in a way that makes them keep up with your thinking, keep up with what you see and understand? Are you involving them where practical in these challenges and in the way you're thinking? Are you providing the training, the development, the support, and the communication that lets them understand that you are having to keep your one eye on what's going to happen and what the trends are and so forth? And are they, this is a terrible question really, but are they even capable now of holding their position in the way this business is moving? Maybe the position they're in now is too pivotal to your business and they're not capable of understanding these changes, in which case they are actually undermining the business. So what about those middle managers? Well, the question has to be to you people, how do you see your senior managers, your directors, or the owner of the business? What's your perception of them? Has that perception built up because of the way that you look at, think that they should behave, or do you really understand the issues that they're facing and try and get to grips with it? Are you aware of what they're having to do in terms of strategy, planning, and making sense of the world? Do you take time to try and understand where they're coming from, what it is that they see that makes them want to approach you in the way they are, or raise issues that they are raising, or come in with new ideas? And are you so focused on maintaining the status quo that you've lost the ability yourself to be responsive to change? And that's a hard question to ask, but you really need to be honest with yourself and say, are you part of the solution or are you part of the problem? And there is no middle ground anymore in that whole spectrum of things. So, ladies and gentlemen, some good questions, hopefully to get you thinking. Take a step back, think about your business, think about those relationships, ask yourself, what do we need to be doing with middle managers? And just clarify, are you two middle managers and senior levels, are you singing off the same hymn sheet? Are you fully understanding each other in the business? Or is one rushing on ahead so far, quite rightly so, that the rest have got left behind? Have a great month, and I look forward to chatting to you again next month. See you. Bye now.